SUI is trying to solve the problems from all of the directions. It's not only just a blockchain. It's not just for trading. Security, privacy, internetless communication, AI, robotics, zero knowledge proofs. Imagine we're building a full stack of the new operating system. This is what Mr. Labs has built at the moment. We want to be the Apple of Web3 with even better privacy, more decentralized, not single point of failure. This is what we're building. I mean, if you're asking me, all of the companies and the governments that are coming to us, or even investors, they realize there is a completely different flavor on how we're thinking about the future.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just the Metrics podcast. Today we have Kostas Kryptos with us, the co-founder of Mr. Labs. And Kostas does not need any special introduction. Everyone knows Kostas. So Kostas, welcome to Just the Metrics.
Thank you so much. No, they don't know everything. There's one thing that people don't know. First, I told you the other day that the reason that I'm in cryptography and the crypto space in general is because I was hacked while I was an AI researcher. I was doing prediction models. For soccer games, I could predict the outcome between Bayern Munich and Leverkusen just because I used to have one of the first neural networks for this work. And you can see by behavioral metrics from people who were betting. I was hacked and then I got into the crypto space. And I have another one. I used to be a doctor. Well, at least I entered the university as a doctor and I left because of cryptography. So you don't know everything.
Yeah, I mean, this particular fact, no one knew before the tweet that you just made. So this was a total surprise. Yeah.
Exactly. If I can provide some color on this, right? So my latest tweet had to do with biotech and how we connect the biotech technology now with AI and crypto. And look, if I manage to at least contribute on something like ZK login or something like SUI and Walrus, but in medicine for incurable diseases, I would be super, super happy. You know, there is a friction at the moment for not having a common database for hospital to exchange data between themselves. At the same time, you know, we're working in the Nautilus system where there is a cluster of TEs, of trusted executed environments, where people can do private logic. We have seal, where the seal is required for private key management. You know, you need to be able to encrypt data, but even if you are in a public or in a private blockchain, you need to only be the sole person that can access this data. And you can define policies who can do that. Eventually, we have agents. Imagine health agents will come into our life. We're going to have IoT devices like our watches or anything that is monitoring your health. You want these to be accessed anonymously and with confidentiality from some of the best tools across the world. There is no other global database than the blockchain technology. Ensuring also that the data is not altered, because, you know, there are countries and countries. In some situation, it's different metrics. You remember what happened in COVID, where some countries were revealing completely different numbers from reality, right? This was the case. And I can tell you for sure because I was personally working on proof of solvency back then. You know, proof of solvency is how we can ensure that Bybit and Binance is solvent, but it's exactly the same algorithm where you can go to the government or to all of the hospitals and say, look, is the number you are reporting about the COVID cases accurate? Can we ask the people who were sick if they were indeed included in the total number that you published today? Because if many people will say, oh, I was also sick, or I have a friend who unfortunately passed away, why they're not in the list, in the total, right? So you can have the people to be the auditor of all of the responses from governments and hospitals. So this started at Facebook, of course, and due to my background as a medical doctor, at least as a student, I never finished. I decided that, look, we're building some tech. Crypto is not only for trading. Crypto, eventually, the blockchain technology can be used even for private inference of AI data. And with all of the cryptography advancements we did in the space, that was even bigger as an impact compared to NSA and NIST and all of the agencies that were trying all of these years, just because there was a lot of money into the space and you hired some of the best cryptographers across the world. The future of a cryptographer in the past was pretty much only in academia, with some probability in a company that you wouldn't do anything more than some boring application of the standards. Now with crypto and blockchain, you can see zero knowledge proofs is in a completely different state. Post-quantum cryptography was emerged mostly by people who somehow had some affiliation with the crypto space. And at the same time, you know, all of the attacks we found on ECTSA, on EDDSA, on all of the signature schemes, they came from cryptographers that are working in the blockchain industry. That's why I believe, again, cryptography And systems will help on medicine and healthcare as well. And you need a very robust blockchain and very secure blockchain, along with some like flavor of being very friendly to robotics and AI to be able to make it. So don't be surprised if you one day you will see on Nautilus, Seal, Walrus, and Sui being used for medical coordination with privacy in mind.
I completely get it. But for the audience, if you take a step back and explain in a sense that, so I worked as a doctor, I understand like one of the biggest problems when you deal with all these medical data is that every hospital have their isolated database. It's
Yes.
like in Germany, for example, to send a patient's data to another hospital, you still have to fax it. Imagine, like you still have to fax it to the other hospital.
Is this safe? Is this safer than encrypting the data?
I don't know.
It's crazy. Yeah?
Yeah, I have no clue. But the idea is that connecting it with internet they don't know if it's absolutely safe. They are really scared about sharing the patient data or leaking some kind of private data. So they think maybe sending a fax directly to another hospital is the right way to do it. But the core fact is that all these databases are like isolated. And the reason why they are isolated is that they cannot make sure if you can give access to someone to this database, being absolutely sure that it is not an adverse, like it is not a malicious actor. So could you break down why are these databases isolated and how can you make these databases accessible with all this technology stack?
Exactly. Look, one of the problems of Web2 is there were grant programs or there was software developed in different countries by different developing teams, and all of them with different languages. Someone is doing it with Java, someone with Python, someone is doing it with Oracle database, someone is doing with a cloud database, someone is doing with a proprietary database, something that nobody knows how to deal with. And some of them are actually very, very old, like 20, 30, 40 years ago. You created the same system. Imagine how the banks are working, like even with green terminals. There is no way people like at the time of 1980s considered interoperability. I mean, we barely had computers back then, right? And the internet only came to our life after pretty much 1995 to 2000. So most of the people had access to the internet back then. And imagine everybody was building in an isolated environment, and it's now very difficult to find developers who can connect the dots. And at the same time, it's very difficult to connect different systems because they're running under different regulations, different local ethics and other things. The blockchain, for the first time in humanity, created a global database where it's programmable. You can even have encryption, decryption, whatever type of encryption and decryption you want. I mean, imagine it's a Turing-complete language, right? You can do whatever algorithms is supported by a particular country. And now, potentially, the hospitals with all of the privacy-preserving technology like zero-knowledge proofs, MPC, trusted executed environments are now compatible with the blockchain smart contracts. And now you can actually have the same data being in a state where you can compose it. You can even do private inference now. Imagine Sui, for example, has Nautilus, where you can put the logic there. Nobody can see the logic, what is running, what is your input, what is your X-ray, what is your medicine that you wanted to train the model with or get an output. And now everybody's talking the same language. In my opinion, you shouldn't see the blockchain only as a trading tool, as a trading vehicle. The blockchain is infrastructure. The infrastructure is you are having consensus along with ownership and privacy of your data. And this is where everybody, if they manage to speak the same language, they could be able to securely transfer the data between the different systems. Imagine if you were a hospital that had the database since 1990s. If you were today to do some updates on your systems, the most futuristic and innovative mechanism to do it is with blockchain tech. You don't want to go back 20, 30 years with just basic Oracle databases and Microsoft databases and all of this stuff. Right? You want to go with something that it is the trend, right? It is the thing that people are already starting to have a digital signature. Because imagine something, our wallets, it's the first time, probably for you as well. I know you live in Germany, right? And in Germany, probably you might have a smart card or something that defines your identity. However, you are using digital signature more in your life by a wallet. It's the first time most of the people are having access to digital signature. Now, it's not only a very weak password. How can the hospital send you the data if it's very, very, very confidential with a simple password? Have you seen how you said that, right? With a fax. It's crazy. They're still using like technology, a 50-year-old technology. I don't know how it's even older than this. It's insane. We need to use the most state-of-the-art tech. At the moment, it's blockchain. Full stop.
100%. And SUI is a coordination layer.
Yes.
Like it's a coordination layer. So that reflects basically the fact that, okay, you can coordinate all this thing through this base layer while providing all the privacy required for all these databases, but being also absolutely sure that you are giving access to the right person. And it is not only for just exchanging value, it's also for exchanging information, exchanging data, exchanging, and you also mentioned something like robotics and all those things,
Yes.
IoT, Internet
Exactly.
of Things. So it becomes like, explain like SUI as this coordination layer where all of this could come together. I think
Exactly. SUI is the flagship of what Mr. Labs as a company has built originally, right? Because now you don't control it anymore. It's a living organism. There are like 100 plus validators working on verifying the transactions. You needed to have a system that, compared to the previous world of Ethereum or Bitcoin or even Solana and the rest, is built by a team that is reputable. It's very cheap. It's very fast. And it has all of the primitives that you need to provide privacy and ownership. Now, some of the things that I personally have seen as an auditor for the Ethereum ecosystem, right? Ethereum never had a native multi-sig support, which means that you have to go into very complex technologies like MPC or even smart contract wallets. And you've seen what happened to Bybit a few months ago, right? Even a multi-sig wallet, someone can see how many signers are there. And at the same time, you can check all of the rules, and it's not native to the protocol. A small update into the safe wallet actually created all of this cascading effect. SUI has a native multi-sig just because we know that people cannot easily protect themselves for very important like data just with a simple password or with a single key. Now you have a 2 out of 3 scheme. It's very easy to create one. You will see like a lot of like even custodians using it for their business. The other thing was we needed to have privacy preserving primitives that are native again. You don't rely on a third-party company to give you this information. And then we enabled, for example, Growth 16 zero knowledge proofs verification. And this is how ZK login was emerged, originally to protect your identity from your Google or your Facebook email to be leaked. But as you can imagine, people can even do it for private execution of whatever logic they want. And then we said, okay, we have the primitives, we have the fastest blockchain, we have a blockchain that is paying attention to the security of the user with multi-sig, with ZK login, with supporting both ECDSA and EDDSA. We try to pay attention on all the security metrics. We have a secure randomness beacon, which is super important even for AI. Don't forget this, right? AI, if you ask ChatGPT 20 times, you're going to get 20 different answers. And someone can actually pick whatever they want and still claim, oh, it's coming from OpenAI, right? It's ChatGPT, it's Gemini from Google. But what I will never learn if it was the 20th time that I asked it or the first time that I asked it. So the randomness can be used as a seed. So, for this seed, you can only use it one time. You can only ask one time. There is no way you can sit on the results. And it can also be used for random sampling. And the random sampling is now fair and transparent. Because sometimes when you're doing audits on how a software is reacting, even an AI agent, who is defining the randomness, right? How do you know that the agent didn't sit just providing the good results and not the ones that they're failing dramatically, right? So we paid attention on primitives that are very, very important to go to the next level. And the next level is an agentic world. Because let's face it, it's users, but AI is becoming pretty much the aided tool for humanity. Like you need the AI now to be able to work, to be able to do even your exercises, like your schooling and everything, to be able to learn, because you are learning a lot faster if you are coding with someone, a tutor who's AI next to you, right? I'm not surprised if in the future, the world and whatever we've experienced in the movie The Matrix, where, they were putting like a very small device into their brain, very quickly learning something. Now with YouTube, humans manage to learn faster. The next step is with AI, we're learning again faster. And then we're having robots now. And what I did is I tried to inspire the community to create APIs for SUI, where devices can talk very easily with the blockchain, and now they can exchange data. And as you can see, we started with a coffee machine. Someone has built a drone that you can drive it with your wallet. Now we're doing pretty much a wallet where you can step and sign, like creating a gesture where people can use devices that are attached to their, to their wrist or to their shoes, and you can use it as a dual factor authentication. You can also see situations where you're going to have security and patrol drones just by reporting to Walrus, like all of the data with seal encrypted data, only for the user to be able to see what's happening. And then we needed microcontrollers to be compatible with SUI. And believe me, something that we also realized is you can use AI for the AI to learn how the other AI is working, pretty much bypassing even the MCP protocol. You know, MCP is one of the most trendy things that we have in community, but you can even use AI to learn the API of another agent. We can go a step further. And this is why we created a concept called everything of things: AI, robots, MCP, zero knowledge proofs, trusted executed environments, internetless transactions, because previously we said Internet of Things. What Internet of Things? Go underwater and have a drone for a fish farm to be able to send data to the blockchain or somewhere where you can do the analysis. There is no access to satellite. There is no access to internet. There is nothing. You have to work with sound. We have to work with LoRa frequencies like, AM, FM, radio signals. You see what happened now in Spain and Portugal. They didn't have power. And then eventually this happened again in other countries in the world. There is an earthquake. SUI is trying to solve the problems from all of the directions. It's not only just a blockchain. It's not just for trading. Security, privacy, internetless communication, AI, robotics, zero knowledge proofs. Imagine we're building a full stack of the new operating system. This is what Mr. Labs has built at the moment.
Like, this is exactly what separates SUI from the rest of the protocols, blockchains, because here you have technology that allows to combine all these other verticals. Like, SUI is the coordination layer. Then you are adding different kind of other technology stack to it, like, for example, for Walrus, for data storage, and Seal, and Nautilus. And you also lately released a paper called ZCAT, a zero knowledge authenticator for blockchain. Now you have a technology stacks that allows you to do a lot of things. People can build cool products on top of it. And you are also talking with a lot of founders, a lot of investors. So what are you seeing right now? People trying to build on SUI using all these technology stacks. Where are you seeing that they are already building cool stuff, or are they saying, oh, some pieces are still missing, you need that? So what are they saying right now?
Okay. By the way, let's take all of the tools into one page, right? What is the CPU of your computer at the moment? There is a box there that is running the transaction. This is SUI. What is the hard disk of a new blockchain system? It's Walrus. What is your joystick? It's SUI Play. How do you maintain speed? You have Mysticeti. How do you do authentication? You have ZK Login. How you can do custody or dual factor authentication and all of this stuff? You have multi-sig. How do you register your code and people can see the plain, like the code that is running on a smart contract? We have MVR. How do you do off-chain transactions? We created ZK tunnels. How do you do identity? We have SUI-NS. How do you do Excel sheet and NASDAQ on-chain? We have dbook. How do you do connection to other blockchains? We have SUI Bridge. How do you have fast internet and even changing how TCP/IP and monitoring of and filtering of your data on the internet with a new system? It's Scion. How do you do artificial intelligent bug detection with Baghdad? How do you do randomness? You do the SUI VRF. How do you do shopping? You have Kiosk. How do you do atomicity? You have programmable transaction blocks. You have a new language. It's Move. You have privacy with Nautilus. You have encryption with Seal. You can even free up disk space because we have storage rebates. People can go and store on SUI large data, and then they will get money back if they delete it. You have low signal. You have internetless, SMS, LoRa, whatever you can imagine. Face ID is now, the passkeys are enabled. You can transfer to objects. We have folders. Everything is an object on SUI. Imagine we're having multi-core experiments with Pilotfish and Remora. You have sponsored transactions. Believe me, you cannot imagine how every day is passing in a casual time schedule. Everybody is working to create a system where all of the startups of the world have at least one place where they can fit themselves and they can enter the blockchain world. You are a DocuSign. You know I need Seal and Walrus. You are a hospital, you know you need Nautilus. You are a food chain tracking mechanism, you know you have to use the oracles of SUI, internetless transactions because there might be IoT devices in the jungle. You need to have users who never had any experience with login. You need ZK login. You have the gamers where they needed something to earn points and actually airdrops and play the games with rewards. You have SUI Play. This is how we're operating. We're trying to create all of the verticals for everybody to be able to use at least one of them to make a difference. This doesn't exist anywhere in the world at the moment. If you do that, you will see 34 startups offering different things. Nothing is standardized. We're trying to standardize everything. I mean, you go to a government and they understand, look, how bad can it be? These people created many of the primitives in Apple, at Facebook, WhatsApp. They have SUI, Walrus, helping all of the other entities. You see, I'm putting some prizes in the community. It's not us anymore. Create a native Bitcoin node inside the move of SUI. And they did it. I didn't believe it. I call it the impossible challenges. Imagine there was a company called Native and they did it. They won the $10,000. I'm going to be a bit more crazy about this. You're going to see more impossible challenges. Don't be surprised if you will see robots flowing inside your blood to protect you against the disease. I'm going to have another challenge about biotech. And this is the difference in culture, right? We live to make a difference. We want to be the Apple of Web3 with even better privacy, more decentralized, not single point of failure, and not single point of failure even on the country level. This is what we're building, Suraj. I mean, if you're asking me, all of the companies and the governments that are coming to us, or even investors, they realize there is a completely different flavor on how we're thinking about the future.
There are multiple things I have to ask there, but we can start with the impossible challenge that Go Native just won. I did a podcast with them on the challenge a couple of days back, and it was incredible. So could you tell us what was the challenge?
Yes.
And why you thought, called it an impossible challenge, and how they solved it, and why it mattered?
Exactly. Let's explain very quickly what the challenge was. Now, Bitcoin nodes are verifying the transactions, and they're only supporting the Bitcoin network. How can I create something in SUI where SUI can understand if a transaction made it to the Bitcoin network without trusting any oracle, without trusting any technology that might not be acceptable by everybody? Bitcoin has the concept of a full node and an SPV node. So the node that can verify the current state of the blocks, right? You know, the Bitcoin is evolving with a block. The miner managed to do the calculations. They managed to succeed on finding the next block and so on. And each block has transactions. I want every Bitcoin transaction to be able to be verified, even in Move, in SUI, in a smart contract in SUI. So the node itself is not just a computer anymore. It's running as a living organism in SUI, which means that now you can verify an event that happened on the Bitcoin network, on SUI directly, without even having an oracle behind it. Literally, the Move contract is a node to the Bitcoin network. Now, I can imagine how bridges can be, trustless bridges can be created between SUI and Bitcoin. And eventually, the Bitcoin users will be rewarded on SUI because now you can enable by far better opportunities for BTCFi. This is what we did, right? And I said impossible because, look, SUI, for example, didn't have an implementation for the RIP MD function. It's a hash function of Bitcoin. And I said, who is going to do it in Move language, right? There is no way. And I'm not going to enable it with like a native function in SUI because the RIP MD is 160 bits. I believe people should change eventually to something more secure. But they did it. They implemented everything from scratch. In Move, you can see an implementation of a full algorithm. And then after they did it, they implemented all of the logic of a node of a Bitcoin, the team behind Native. And to tell you the truth, I was surprised because until the last day, I didn't see any interaction with my challenge. And then I said, okay, I'm getting $10,000 back. It's fine. I feel really bad now because this is not incentivizing me to continue my impossible challenges. Or maybe these are impossible challenges indeed. Nobody can do it. But community of SUI decided the opposite. Right? They just need inspiration. That's what I'm doing. I'm seeding the inspiration there. I know as a researcher and a coder, I know exactly what is difficult to be implemented. That's why it took them all of the days until the last day they were programming. I could see their GitHub. I was there even the day after. I was adding some comments. guys, I need you to cover this test and this other test and this other thing. And they did it. They were very, very responsive. And then even if they had a small thing that they didn't make it like from a full node to an SPV node, I don't care. I just want people to realize that they can do miracles if they focus on a particular goal. And they did it. So I said, give it to them.
Yeah. And the most important factor is that this enables this Bitcoin node implementation on Sui,
Yes.
enables a fully trustless
Yes.
BTCFi solution on Sui. I think it doesn't exist anywhere on other blockchain. You now have a fully trustless way to interact with Bitcoin using this technology stack.
Yes, I have a feeling. I have a feeling that because Sui is also object-based, it's by far easier to have BTCFi anyway. I was thinking about this in my mind at least, and then I said, look, let's pose a problem. Let's see if the community can do it, because it's not only Misten Labs. People have to understand it, right? It's not only Misten Labs that is working on Sui. As you can see, another company, another startup implemented something that it wasn't feasible from us, at least for like the resources perspective. And they did it. There is a huge community now, Suraj, on Sui that are very, very smart people.
Exactly. If you look at it, it's only like just a bit more than 2 years since Sui went live. Sui went live in 2023, May, I believe. And in 2 years, it's not only the amount of brain power this ecosystem is attracting is crazy. In a sense that you are finding all these brilliant people, the people behind Ika protocol, the people like GoNative, the founder of GoNative, Robert Saramba. He used to work. He was an original contributor to the Go implementation of Get, the Ethereum,
the Ethereum node. Yes.
He used to work with in the Cosmos ecosystem, doing all this IBC implementation and all that. So Sui ecosystem is attracting like a really brilliant people because you can do a lot more here in Sui.
Exactly. Look, Suraj, you have to enable primitives and having a very clean language and safe to attract the best talents in the world. I think this is a testament, even this impossible challenge, it's a testament that things are working here, right? You've seen what the progress is in robots in the last 2 months in Sui. It's insane. Insane. You can have robot battles now. You can have a Super Mario Kart with a real Mario Kart, not a digital one, like an RC. And then the impossible challenge with Go Native. And then you cannot imagine what I'm going to post in the next few weeks. But I'm telling you, I feel super happy that sometimes even for things that I cannot go easily to Adeniji and Sam, hey guys, I think this should be prioritized. I reached the point where I don't care. I know in the community there are even smarter people than us. Let them do it, and they do it.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned in the conversation is that, now governments and companies are showing interest in this technology stack. And one thing that happened last month is that Athens Stock Exchange, the Greek National Stock Exchange, decided to move their order book on to Sui. So how did it happen? Why is this a huge thing? And I am also hearing a lot other things about how people are interested. But could you tell us why this is very, very important?
Exactly. In this situation, we have the first institutional commitment to do blockchain technology. And I will tell you how all of this works from the very beginning. When you go and meet officials, the large amount of people believe originally that crypto is only for trading. Some of them can even believe it's a scam because they've seen some news, oh, someone lost money, and how can we protect our folks from just trading with like an X leverage and all of this stuff. I explained to them about the infrastructure. Blockchain is a database. It's protecting ownership, but it's programmable. Things that you cannot easily do with your internal databases, you can now do it in Sui. And then they said, look, Kostas, I get it now. As you can imagine, I'm an employee of a semi-public organization. It's a stock market. I don't understand how this technology works. And then we had the solution engineering team. They went to their premises, to their office, and explained one by one, what does it mean to have a zero knowledge proof? How do you run an auction that is private? People cannot see the amounts. They cannot see how much stored value is transferred from one place to another. And technically, we presented them a demo on how can someone convert a full stock market into a blockchain stock market, and why this is important for the government and for the country. Because Suraj, they realized after a lot of thoughts, and when they see that, oh, it's possible. It's not like in the realm of fantasy. It can happen. We've seen it, right? In 1 month, these people gave us a fully working model to convert the stock market into a digital blockchain market. We are under threat. All of the small countries in the world they're under threat of a single click purchase of American stocks and other assets from companies like Revolut, Venmo, and all of them. If they don't make the next step, tell me, who from the new generation would buy a Greek stock if they are exposed to an Apple and Google stock with a single click through Revolut? Nobody will do it. So the only option for them is to be able to trade their assets, the Greek stock exchange market, which is like billions, right, into a place where there are degens, there are people who are already trading. These people, when the crypto market is in a bear situation or it goes down, they want to hedge. They want to go in more stable assets. And these are typically gold, stable coins, stocks, real estate, right? So they are creating a new type of engagement with folks that are generally trading. And there is another thing. For the first time, you might also have agents, programmable agents from people to do arbitrage. I buy a Greek stock, then I sell it for 1 square meter in Burj Khalifa, and then I convert it into yen, and then I go through SUI, and this is my final transaction. Why did they pick SUI as well? Because SUI has also the programmable blocks, right? In SUI, you can have a batch transaction where you're having multiple orders, and all of them either succeed or fail. And then they decided someone can even do it in stocks. I buy a Greek stock of a bank, and then I convert it to a holiday stock, and the holiday stock is getting into dollars and then into euros. And that's how you are having, for the first time, a new experience on how the stock market is working. And maybe it's a bet for them as well. Maybe we can survive the next 15, 20 years because we're becoming competitive in a globalized world.
So right now, we are seeing this trend that everything is moving to some digital representation of itself, right?
Yeah.
But you have all these traditional financial assets like stocks, bonds, and all that. Are you also seeing the trend that these institutions wants to convert these things into digital assets, internet native assets that people can easily trade, these traditional assets like bonds, stocks, stuff like that?
Exactly. The problem is the same as I explained with the Greek stock market. They need to get into the new style of trading. The DeFi is flourishing at least in SUI, it's happening. I mean, you see it, right? It's a very organic, healthy, environment for people to make money and trade and pretty much be able to do whatever they want with programmable trading. The traditional industry of the older form of sending orders by phone, or you're having a centralized database where you're using a proprietary system, and then you have to go to another system if you want to do German stocks, and then you want to go to bonds in Greece, and then you have to use another system. They need to have a place where everybody can transact on everything. This is why it's happening, because it will open the door for cross-country trading by far easier without mediators. There are some brokers where 1% here, 2% there, eventually you're losing a lot of money at the end of the year. And 2 or 3% for a company or even an individual, it might be a lot. And at the same time, you have transparency. It's either succeeding, you know exactly what was the price that you made the offer. And there is also another thing that you can do cross-market arbitrage now, because it's one database for everything. Now imagine if you want to sell an American stock and buy a Greek stock. In this time in between, you might be unlucky and you lose money just because you wanted to convert at the final stage euro against dollars, and the price moved for some reason because some politician made an announcement, and all of your order didn't succeed completely. Half of it was succeeded, right? In the blockchain, you can have atomicity now. I think they see it. They can also see the fact that AI is getting a bit more closer into programmable execution. We're going to see agents there. And while we're talking about humans, equity trading, about 70, I don't remember the exact percentage, but it's more than 50% is happening through AI. The blockchain itself is going to enable by far better AI agent experiences because it's programmable. You can do anything, whatever you can imagine, right? You have also the privacy preserving elements. Even now, when you're making an order, someone on the other side might know exactly what you're planning to buy, right? While on the blockchain, if you're using Nautilus and zero knowledge proofs, eventually they will realize, look, bonds are starting now without privacy originally. And the next step is we're going to use all of the tech that is coming into the blockchain space. And we have to be the first. So we need to win the first mover advantage to be one of the first assets being traded on the blockchain. That's why you're going to see competition. Believe me, You see now the crazy trendy situation about stable coins, like JP Morgan is trying for it, Amazon, I think, even Walmart, everybody's trying to create a stable coin. The same will happen with all of the assets that you asked me before. Real estate, gold, oil, treasuries of governments, everything will go on the blockchain. That's my personal belief. And as you can see, I'm writing a book as well, a paper that is called SUI for Governments. But when I'm saying for governments, I mean for institutions. You will realize that it's coming. There is a hype. Yes, it took us like 15 years to move from trading into something else, but the real value of the blockchain in the infrastructure and the common place for everybody to trade.
Amazing. And I think now is the right time to ask about AI because you mentioned it. And there's a lot of AI-related initiatives inside Mission connected to SUI and all that. But taking a step back and looking at AI as this this secular trend happening right now in technology, like people are using AI related technologies. You see all these AI integrations to any of the website you go. You see all the creators using some AI related stuff. So where does AI and blockchain converge? And what are you seeing right now happening already?
Okay. By the way, there are at least 3 spaces where there is trying to be a convergent evolution in both of them. One is we use AI to improve the blockchain. The other is we use the blockchain to improve AI. And the third one is use AI to profit from blockchains. I think this is clear, right? These are the 3 big categories. How do we use AI to improve blockchains? For example, there are security patterns. You can do bot, fraud, credit score, breach status detection. You know, we also have Backdar that is doing vulnerability detection on smart contracts and like the SUI core language and everything. There is also, as I explained, white hat hacking. You can use AI to protect your systems. At the same time, the blockchain can be used to help AI. How? You can create a marketplace to buy, manage, and own AI content. You can create AI and blockchain for news misinformation. We need to verify the data, right? The data feed for LLMs has to be verified. There is also private sharing of data, especially for health, advertisement, KYC information, and all of this stuff. I also see infra optimization, like AI, believe me, it will be used for the next Mysticeti or whatever is the next consensus because it will help on rearranging the structure for faster communication between the nodes. You are going also to see, of course, we see it for writing smart contracts. We're going to see machine learning, in particular focusing on smart contract development. We're going to see, in my opinion, AI for wallets. I've already checked with a few wallet providers. Your next wallet should be smart. You have to have a scam detector in your wallet. You have to have a wealth spending manager in your wallet. And then you will see also that machine learning will also help you to save money because it will tell you how you can do fees compression or find patterns to pay less fees. And in my opinion, we're getting into a world where we're connecting also the robots and Biotech. You're going to see fair agent contests. Imagine people are going to have Stanford against MIT playing poker, algorithm, robot battles and everything. And you're going to also see copyright infringement and other things that you require a global database. In my opinion, all of these are sectors where I already see some startups emerging. And I've also seen another startup, by the way, very recently in the Overflow hackathon of SUI, that was about tagging data and getting incentivized on your wallet. Imagine like an Amazon Turk fashion where people are contributing with their data or their actions about a few facts that they believe are true. And now this is how you're trading models by far better than the generic AIs of OpenAI and Google. This is where I believe we're heading. I am very, very bullish about this convergent evolution of both of them. I cannot imagine how we can unleash AI without the protection of the blockchain. And I cannot imagine how the blockchains will not evolve without getting the agents into the game. So SUI is having primitives for all of them. I'm trying every day, you see me, for robots, for AI, back detection, cam detection, detect everything. SUI, and even MVR, the fact that some try to allow people to have source code publicly, you know exactly what's happening, is because the AI can also understand patterns and figure out how to solve a few problems that we see and even improve the next generation of smart contracts. This is what we do.
This is the bleeding edge, and this is going in a very cool direction. And I'm also hearing that Miston Labs is spinning up a hardware team.
Let me give you some hints here. As you know, and we mentioned a few things last time, we're building a small team in Vietnam. When I say small, it's dozens, it might be hundreds, but it's a small team. Some of them came to the interview process with robots. It's happening. And then some of the overflow hackathon applications, some of the best actually, are also in robots. We couldn't ignore this. There is a trend. Now every ESP32 microcontroller can connect to SUI. It can sign transactions. And you realize that now you can even go to BMW one day and ask them to have communicating cars using blockchain, or asking the insurance companies to check a few things about how their cars are used with privacy, because now we have Nautilus. If you have Nautilus and Seal, now for the first time, you're enabling a situation where robots have a place to go and work with, right? And this is why we hired a few people there. By the way, one of the people who is posting a lot about robots on Twitter is already hired as an intern. And I'm telling you, and to the community, the more you surprise me and you inspire me, the more crazy stuff you're going to see from Mr. Labs and Sui and Wallers. If you do crazy things, the probability that you're going to get an offer from some team that we're creating, either the commandos team, the hacker team, the cryptography team, the systems team, the move team, we are very good at finding talents. Very, very good. And I want to see people surprising me, like inspiring me. Like I have this anticipation that whenever I see someone like crossing the bar of like what was feasible before, I want to work with them. I have this intellectual tendency to work with some people that are very, very smart. You cannot change the world in a different fashion. Suraj, let's be clear. You need the smartest people to work on the most difficult problems that humanity has. Robots have to be in this space because there is already improvements on how robotics are smart enough. AI is at the state where AI can also help the other AI to learn about how the robot works. Now, because of the community, not us, we started having SDKs connecting robot devices and IoT devices with SUI. The next step of IoT is robots. So we're building hardware. It's not random that the first handheld device for gaming like SUI Play came from SUI. It's not random that we started with NFC cards and internetless transactions and LoRa communication, where you need to use this for IoT devices and robots, right? And it's not random that the first coffee machine that was smart and was connected to the internet of like SUI was coming from us. Because we see the necessity, and we see how people are now able to use a public database with privacy to have agents and real robotics to communicate between themselves.
I think you nailed it. You have to find talented people, incentivize them, motivate them, encourage them.
Yes.
Equip them with resources. That's the only way to, make humanity better, make technology better, everything. So CTF for SUI community, do crazy tech stuff and tag Kostas.
I'll give you a hint as well. Not only me, tag Adeniji as well, because lately I realize that some people in Nigeria, they are getting crazy about robots and SUI. And now I'm scouting with Adeniji. Adeniji, you should visit Lagos. You should visit Nigeria. There are some brilliant minds there. And I see the same on everywhere that I go. By the way, TUM, right? The University of Munich. Man, this university can actually change the world in crypto. I go tell them, come on, someone should apply to SUI. These are very smart.
Yeah, TUM, right?
TUM, yes.
TUM, yeah. TUM is amazing. I already know a couple of brilliant people from TUM. It's an amazing place. And you mentioned one thing that, going back to the first part of our conversation where you mentioned that people are now getting their first digital signatures through wallet. We know that there are around 2 billion plus people who does not have access to financial instruments all over the world. Do you think this is how they get to access to these financial instruments?
100%. And these people are not financially literal anyway. They cannot use a password. Forget it. There is no way they're going to do it. We need passkeys, Face ID, or we need ZK login, or we need some social recovery, with multi-sig and all of this stuff. SUI at the moment can offer this. And I'm telling you, as a developer for Mark Zuckerberg and for Facebook and WhatsApp for many years, the average person doesn't know how to keep a secret. They are very interested to learn about technology. It's somehow they're blocked by this illiteracy and that they cannot have access to these things. Give them easy access. ZK login for the first time enabled a wave of people who never had anything else than Google login and Facebook, right, in their life. So what I'm suggesting here is we need to continue improving the UX having remittances, some privacy, and give them tools, like very easy tools that they can play with. Don't be surprised if one day you will see a device coming from our side that is again helping these people who are not in the banking system yet. I will do it. I will personally do it. It's like pretty much like I'm giving you a promise that I will try to do it.
Yeah. And finally, I think it's really important because once you unlock that market, it's not only that people are profiting from financial access, you can build new products there, build new, financial products. You can, lending money, because some of these people have one of the highest loan repayment rates and all that, And so this is going to be amazing. And finally about post-quantum. You said Sue is going post-quantum. So what's happening there?
Yeah. If you see some of the latest articles about us, there are at least 3 or 4 places where we need to change the algorithms into quantum safe algorithms. We're probably the best team to do this. I will explain why. One of the reasons that I joined Facebook back then was because Sam met me in a conference that we've created one of the blockchain-friendly post-quantum signature schemes. And then Sam went back to Facebook and say, we have to hire this guy. And this is how Sam actually hired me at Facebook. And now with Sam, we're co-founders in Mr. Labs, which is insane, right? So we're very strong in the post-quantum technology. Typically, what you need is a signature scheme that can withstand any new algorithm that can be created with a quantum computer. At the same time, you want also encryption to withstand, like for the next 30, 40 years, any type of attack. And I'm telling you, even if I don't personally believe that the quantum computer will come in the next 5, 10 years, it will take a bit more based on the current status that I see. NSA, NIST, actually, the National Institute of Standard and Technology, and many agencies across the world, they are sending some notes that everybody has to switch from 2030 to 2035 to quantum safe algorithms if you want to work with governments, with entities there, like state entities and so on. We have to be prepared, not because it will be broken, because we want to be compatible. We want SUI to change the world. That's why we have a dedicated team in the cryptography side, where they're working on enlisting and creating new algorithms for all of the operations that are required for cryptography. This is what we're doing. Quantum safety is coming on SUI. It might be a 2-year journey, but it's coming on SUI. There is already action, activity, and progress on this.
Amazing. I think this is a fantastic note to end this conversation. So
thank you so much,
Kostas.
I hope I inspire at least a few people. And by the way, ping me if you have crazy ideas. And you're a medical doctor, right? It's crazy. We see, as you notice, there is a convergent evolution with medicine and cryptography. You are the example of this, my friend. Thank you so much, Suraj, one more time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Kostas.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. And before you go, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates and insights. Your support is what keeps these videos coming. So see you in the next video.